But even the guitar's MIDI at this point. But then if you bring it up, it's a guitar. And then if you bring it down, it goes back to the MIDI format of it, where it's more bit crunched and more, I guess you would say like 8-bit styled, but I don't like when people say 8-bit music, because that doesn't mean anything to me, because music is not in bits. I get what people mean when they say things like, oh, 16-bit music, but that's not actually how it's formatted, so... Guitars live recorded and then bit crushed to make unrealistic and glitchy. Nice. Yeah. And that, again, that guitar brings me back to Chris from, like, Risk of Rain, where all of his guitar in Risk of Rain was live recorded, and just, again, he has the track for one of the levels that is basically like a 12-minute homage to Purple Rain, and it just hits in a different way. Hits in a different way. There's a lot of people out there too that think that like bit crush style is not satisfying. Dude, wait a second. Is there a quote hat? There has to be, right? There's 152 hats. There has to be a quote hat. They're like jester hats? Okay. I know it's probably not it, but this one's either like Snowman, Scarecrow, or it could just literally be like the Conehead boy from Blasphemous. I don't know. Is this just Robot from Gungeon? With the TV head? That would be incredible. That would be also incredible if there was just like a bulletkin head or a shotgunkin head. I hope there's a quote head. Or hat. Or some reference to Pixel's work. Speaking in terms of like good soundtracks and arguably one of the greatest indie games ever made is Cave Story. Just like, if you're talking about masterpieces, untouchable, that game. Best soundtrack is Bastion. I cannot argue with that. It would be close to my top as well. Darren Korb is an absolute musical genius. There's some Darren Korb in this game soundtrack as well that I've pointed out several times. The like fungal area, the fungal biome, has a lot of Darren Korb feel to it, like a good vibe to it. Whether intentional or not, I don't know, but it just, the way the guitar is written and played on that song, on that track, it just feels so Corby. Not intentionally is what you wanted to say. Well, it's a good comparison. It is one of those Darren Korb is unique in that he's in that like Ben Prunty realm of game composers that I've grown to just fall in love with, where I know them just from like, I could hear something and I know them immediately. Right? Excuse me? Oh, that was pretty nice. It was all walls that fall. So, oh, even the pause menu. It quiets just a tad bit. So there was a game, this is like 6 years ago, 5-6 years ago. There was a game called All Walls Must Fall that I got sent by the publisher to cover and play on the channel, and absolutely adored the game. I'm gonna state that right away. The game was incredible. It was like this turn-based, like, political, intrigue style of stealth. Like, it was like stealth XCOM, but it was like set in like this political like downfall of a country. All Walls Must Fall was very civil-esque. My favorite moment of that entire stream was the main menu theme. The moment I opened the game up to start playing it and cover it, I looked at chat and I'm like, this is Ben Prunty, isn't it? This sounds like Ben Prunty. And then Ben popped into chat and he's like, how did you know? And I'm like, I just know, man. I don't know. It's like, I just can tell, all right? It's like, I just know when you write stuff, man. There's a sound. You have a sound identity, an audible identity. Like, when you hear Tool playing, you know it's Tool. Before Maynard starts singing, you hear Adam Jones, you hear Chancellor start playing, you hear Danny Carey start hitting the drums, and you know it's Tool before Maynard even says a word, right? You just know there's a musical identity. And Darren Korb has one of the strongest. Just the way he writes is so incredible. Yoko Shimomura is very much the same, yeah. There's just a sound. And there's some bits and bops from this soundtrack so far, from the little bit that I've heard, and I'm sure, like you've said, the soundtrack is absolutely massive, so I look forward to exploring it in its entirety. I can only hope that we're going to get to that point where I'll be able to recognize it just by like, oh, this is Mr. Jacob. This is absolutely his music. Almost 3 hours of music. That's actually a lot. That's one of the best things about writing for a game like this, is your average game player will hear, oh, 3 hours of music? That's not that much. I play the game for like 10 hours a day. But what they don't realize is, like, the tracks fold in on themselves. So, like I talked about even just with Wario Land, like Wario Land Shake It. It was a 4-minute track, which is one level. And yes, you're going to spend probably like 4 or 5 minutes in that level. You're probably not going to hear the whole track, but it's a track that is written so that it loops back into itself. Almost just like without even being interrupted at all. You can't hear any cuts. There's no like small thousandth of a second of static to show that it folded back over and then it repeated back to the first measure. It's a natural just loop. It's a natural loop. And so 3 hours of music for like probably a minute and 50, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, somewhere within that realm, probably no longer than 3 minutes would be my guess for loop. 3 hours is a ton of music with track lengths that are within 90 to like 220 seconds. That's a lot of music. hour and a half roughly, but doubled because of the dynamic enemy nearby loops. Yeah, which again is worth mentioning. Yeah, fire rate and speed makes you shoot in bursts. DX, don't even dare. Don't even dare. You will not. His coconut gun. No, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not doing the DK64. No matter how many times his coconut guns shoot in bursts. I will not let a Donkey Kong meme force me to pick up this item. "50-track soundtrack is massive." Yeah. I mean, what is... I don't want to alt-tab again, but I'm pretty sure, like... Nuclear Throne's full track list is probably like 37 songs. The original... I don't know what Ridiculon's body count is at this point for Rebirth, but I know the original Danny B... Wrath of the Lamb and Vanilla track list was like 60 or something like that, so... And then, yeah, Mr. Larkin, Christopher Larkin, is only 26 tracks, but every track has purpose. There's not a lot of just, like, loops in that soundtrack. Every track is like it stays exactly as long as it needs to. I will take the doll. It gives me fire rate and speed. Fire rate. I don't know why I said it that way, but I did. Which soundtrack? Hollow Knight? Christopher Larkin? Like, yeah, they loop, because, I mean, everything loops in this industry, but, the amount of tracks isn't really surprising because of, it's surprising because of the density of the game, but I guess it's not surprising because of, how he uses the music. Considering that, like, the music in Hollow Knight is, like, 90% of the story, I'm going to die. I'm not gonna die, I'm the best gamer ever. Seventh anniversary of Necrodancer? That's actually crazy. That's actually nuts. That soundtrack is so good, too. I don't feel like doing it. I love Danny B. Speaking of soundtracks that are just ridiculously funky. Just like intrusively funky. Oh, I didn't even see that guy. Dang, I'm gonna die. I don't know why I'm coming in here. There's no way this is gonna ever work. Any alt tunes? I don't believe so. Technically, this is only like my 5th run that I've played. Which is crazy because it doesn't feel like it's only my 5th run, but What's the furthest I've gotten? Enigma. Nearly killed him and died. And that was on my second run. I almost don't even want to play this run because I don't have my spirit friend, my soul boy. And he's the reason I exist. He's the reason I play the game. I don't even know what this item I started with is. Just a damage upgrade. Bruh. Well, I'm performing very horribly for doing more damage. I'm also extraordinarily hungry. Get out of here. Get out of here, nerd. Denial. More like D's nuts style. Alright, you know, honestly, that was deserved. You know, when you make a joke like that, sometimes the heavens above look down upon this earth and they're just like, we need to, gotta get him out of there. Get him out of there. We can't allow that one. That's a terrible joke. Deserved, honestly. But we didn't have Soul Boy. My spirit friend is the reason that I exist. He is the best boy. My soul orb is best boy, and I will save him. Ben, is there a quote hat? I don't know if you were here earlier when I asked about it. Is there a quote hat? Or like a curly brace hat, or of some regard? The joke was no, right? I don't do D's nuts that often, and that's the reason why. It loses the game. I'll try my best, man. I'm doing the very best I can. Take a seat, sit. Get up, go down. I'm gonna keep using the shotgun. I should switch to the machine gun just to test it out, but I'm kind of addicted to shotguns, man. Should not give me the option to get new versions of the gun, because the moment I get a shotgun, I'm just like, that's what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Oh, that's not what I meant to do, buddy. I will kill the thing for you, my friend. I don't know what it gives me, but I'm gonna do it. I feel like I've already forgotten what it does. God, I love shotguns. Is that a mini boss room? There's also God, that base is so dirty. There's also a little bit of La Mulana that I can, like, some light La Mulana influence, especially this track. This track alone has a little bit of La Mulana in there for me. Incredible. Ooh. Amazing. Gave me the machine gun and I went, there you go. I'm not a machine gun guy. He spawns a mini boss. Ah! I should have known. Shooting star spawns a random celestial weapon? So that's the secondary weapon, I'm guessing. Increases chance to find shields and gives you an extra shield. 20% chance. Dust Bunny! Let's go! I love this item. I don't care how much it costs me. I love this item. It's the perfect shotgun item. Oh yeah, there's Donkey Kong all over this offering room track. There's Donkey Kong everywhere in this track. What it does? So Dust Bunny gives you higher damage, but your bullets fade faster. Your bullets don't have as much oomph, so they disappear a lot faster. They dust away, but it gives you a ton of damage for basically shortened range, but higher damage. It's just the shotgun item, pretty much. Run up in face, pull trigger, kill enemy. One track is heavily inspired by Celeste and another one by Undertale and so on. I still have not actually played Celeste, but I've watched so many people play Celeste. I've watched all the speedruns, but I've not personally actually played it. The game's music is incredible, though. But yeah, the offering room just, like, breathes Donkey Kong Country. Get roasted, sir. You shall not make this putt. Yo, okay, so the battery this time doesn't curse me. Dude, I like that curses are random. Or at least seemingly random. I won't exactly say they're random because I don't assume to know so. But it seems very much that they are random. Spam. Thank you for letting me spam to open chests. Fire rate increased while moving. Dude, I never stop moving. Also, Dane was in here earlier, Mr. Dane Lawton, member of the Wholesome Verse, to yell at me that fire rate items are incredibly rare to find, so I will take it. Nice dodge, thank you. Is jumping considered moving? This is important, I need to know. Oh, as he should have. As he should have, Christoph. As he should have. If there's a specific vibe or a specific mood he's trying to get with a track or an area, that is 100%, 100% something that I expect for people to do. In fact, I would say a lot of devs who work close with their composers, that's actually a very common thing nowadays. I know Ed has worked basically like directly with Ridiculon on trying to figure out the mood of an area, and then he'll write something, he'll send it. He'll say, okay, maybe a little less happy, a little more sad, maybe a little less sad, maybe a little more angry, and then rewrite, reprocess, send again, so on and so forth. Yo, Lil Toucan, how you doing, bud? Woo! It's just so good. It's so... It captures the mood so well. I think that's where I get the La Mulana inspiration. Because it feels, this track is just 1000% a Journey start track. And La Mulana, in my opinion, still to this day probably has the best Journey beginning track of all time. Mr. Explorer is probably the best opening theme of all time. And it just has that, like, that driving, like, high BPM movement to it. Olenko? No. Alexa has never said the word bi in his life. And that person is a bi person. They use the word bi. I got smacked. I got smacked twice. He's doing multiple attacks. I've never seen him do this before. Denia, what is wrong with you? I've been hit 3 times. Chaos reigns. Get out of here. Unbelievable. This guy isn't even Shard 27 and beaten the final boss. I don't even know what those words mean. And I'm okay with that. Resolution is set to 1080, not 1080. That's because 1080 is not properly encoded on Twitch. And anybody who streams at 1080 with the encoding limitations that Twitch gives to you versus the encoding limitations that YouTube gives you, 1080 is actually awful looking from an encoding perspective, from a bit stream perspective. 1008 and 936 are much more reliable 16:9 resolutions for being limited to 10K. That's right. That's right, I just scienced you. Like, whoa, man, he just said all those words. What the heck? $900 can do the work too. 900 is fine, but it's not proper 16:9. And 16:9 for most modern games allows every pixel on your monitor and every pixel put forward through the encoding process to be properly analyzed and put out. Whereas if you're at 900p, I think 900 is like... It's not quite standard definition, but it's not quite HD. It's like, it's a weird in-between. It's like 12:7 or something. It's very strange. It's a strange resolution. It's crisp and it looks good, but encoding is such a weird thing, especially when you play games like the ones that I play. So like Cycle, Tarkov, anything that has pixel art, it tends to crush quality and leave artifacting on the table. And artifacting is never fun to deal with because you don't know what's happening until chat tells you. And so you eliminate the possibility of artifacting becoming a thing by streaming at a resolution where the encoder can naturally process it easier, which 16:9 is what most games in HD nowadays, HD plus, are preferred to be played in. Spoken music that most players won't even actively perceive. Did you know that the music right before bosses, where you spend like 5 seconds, is actually 1:30 long? No. Or the track that's playing right now is quite wrong. Quite long. No, but I'm hearing the low end of it. And again, it's a very... This one is another one that's very Donkey Kong. Just the way that you're utilizing, like, whistle notes. And kind of, like, utilizing pitch as an expression, which is something that Donkey Kong did pretty much, like, perfectly. Like Forest Interlude from Donkey Kong Country 2. Forest Interlude was 2, right? Yeah, Forest Interlude was 2. This one was inspired by Fez. Oh, I love Fez. I love Fez so much. It sucks that Phil Fish is an absolute shit, but Fez is a masterpiece, and its music is so good because its music told a story. There is so much sonic development that goes on in that game's music that people don't realize is happening. There are puzzles in that game that are solvable by listening to the music that is playing, and it's not required to use the music to solve them, but you can use the music to solve them. It's not the intended solution, but you can use it. Just so good. So good. Donkey Kong goes for atmosphere. Donkey Kong tries to establish... So, Sonic is... I mean, Sonic does definitely try to go for, like... I wouldn't say they don't go for atmosphere, but I definitely think Sonic is more rhythm-based. Sonic is much more at establishing a feel, because it's a fast-paced game, and they want to get you into that immediate percussion. Immediate percussion, immediate bass, and that's why Sonic is so loved by me, because it's very bass forward. The bass is extremely high in the mix. In fact, the bass in many of Sonic's songs is actually the one leading the melody of the track, and you hear the actual like softer notes, like your synths and your pads and your like more MIDI style like guitar leads and stuff like that lower in the mix, because the bass is the one that's driving you, because it's supposed to be adrenaline, go fast, running in circles, moving around at the speed of sound, getting chased by a truck, and it's supposed to be very active, it's very busy in the mix. Whereas Donkey Kong, anybody who's played a Donkey Kong game, especially Donkey Kong Country, it's more exploratory, it's more open, it's more freeing, there's a lot more space, and so they utilize the open ends of the mix, and they take a melody and then they fill it with just like not necessarily emptiness, but like open air, where you hear like, that's where you start to hear tracks that are more environmental, where you hear like birds chirping and you hear like small little whistles or like tin flutes, and there's like weird strings that aren't quite forward in the mix, but they're kind of on the back end, and you can hear them in the back of your ear, and if you're not listening, you don't actually hear that it's happening. That's where Donkey Kong Country excels, because it's supposed to be more open. It's almost like you're swimming through the music track playing the game versus chasing the music track with like a game like Sonic. And then on the secondary nature, Mario versus Zelda is almost the exact conversation, right? So Mario is very upbeat, very movement based. It's very much like, okay, you're on 1-1 and you're going to get from point A to point B. You have this music, it's going to drive you forward, you're going to follow the music, you're going to move forward with the beat. Whereas Zelda, outside of battle music in Zelda, which is again very driving, very percussion heavy, you have tracks like Hyrule Field or the Great Sea from Wind Waker, which is just, again, very open, very atmospheric, very, very, very airy, very... I'm losing what word I'm trying to search for here. It's not open. Open is not the right word. It's very spacious, dynamic. The sounds exist there, but there's nothing that you're really grabbing and reaching out and touching, right? Whereas in a Sonic track, in a Mario track, in a Metroid track, you're reaching out, you're touching the melody, you're reaching out, you can clearly identify with the bass and follow the bass. Metroid, very synth heavy, you can follow it and take the lead with it, Whereas in Zelda, it's just, you're kind of just floating, right? You just exist within the track, and there's just room for you to explore that space, that open space of like audio design, right? So that's kind of the comparison I would make between like Sonic, Donkey Kong, and stuff like that. Is just the mood they're trying to set with the music itself. Because again, it goes into like how you're building your game. You have to use music as a tool to make the player feel like they're involved. Because a game without music is just jumping. Like imagine playing Bob on Battlefield in Mario 64, but that song doesn't play. What are you actually accomplishing? You don't feel like you're doing anything, right? So the moment Bob on Battlefield starts and that snare hits the one note and the track just starts to launch into its crescendo towards like the mid section, the moment that snare hits, the track is on. You know what you're doing, you're exploring this map, you're finding things, you're racing a Koopa to the top of a mountain, you're dodging boulders on the way down to the thing. It gets you more involved in the way that you play the game. And then there's games that are music based. So Necrodancer was brought up. Danny B. He wrote those tracks specifically to not only match the atmosphere of the biome that you were in, but to utilize your movements as a player in the game to match the feel, to match the tension, to match the pressure that the game is putting on you as a player. And that's only just, it's further complications into writing music for games like that when you're utilizing it in a mechanical way versus just like an audio way. Do I like deck builders? Yes and no. Yes and no. I don't like when deck builders just exist for the sake of being a deck builder, because there's a lot of games that try to be a deck builder and it fails because it's just like, oh, things are just cards now. But like, Spire is a great example. Monster Train is a great example of games that utilize the deck as if it were a deck of cards versus utilizing a stack of artifacts and a stack of passive power-ups and items, but calling it a deck when it's not actually a deck. when the theme fits the actual card mechanics of the game, it hits a little bit different than just like, hey, we're a deck builder because you can add stuff to your run. Like, well, then every roguelite is technically a deck. Nuclear Throne is a deck builder because I'm adding weapons to my character. I love Mario Luigi. I have gushed about those specific soundtracks so many times. I have gushed about those ones so many times in my channel. I have constantly lost my mind about those games and their music. They are so well written, again, for mood. Dream Team is incredible. Bowser's Inside Story has such a good soundtrack, and I haven't played the game, but I know the soundtrack front to back. I know the soundtrack front to back, but I've never played it. And I know, that's grounds to be yelled at. Why haven't you played? I know, trust me, I know. I have only played Superstar Saga. Oh, he's still alive. Floating lantern. Oh, baby. So this thing just gives me 35% fire rate if I'm moving. And jumping is not a move, says Lil Toucan. Okay. Been a minute since they made one. What was the last Mario and Luigi game? Was that the Origami King? No, that was Paper Mario, right? The last, was it Color Splash was the last one? There's no way Color Splash was the last one. That was forever ago. This is an NPC. Hello. Of course I'm willing to listen to your soul. I've heard Origami King was really good. She has a giant chest. I love loot. Give it to me. Even little things like this, even little things like making text vibrate or like ominously shake to give you that anxiety. Just little things like that. I love, Ben, I love the way you use the text format in this game. Just the little touches. Games are getting better at doing that too, especially dialogue, like voice act. Games that don't have voice acting, they are getting so much more at expressing the characters with the written dialogue. Whether it's even those ellipses taking every little bit of time to drop to give you that pensive feeling. Very cool. Very cool. I'm so glad the NPCs don't take HP anymore. Dude, bring it back. Bring it back. Make the game harder. Make the game harder. Is Alexis still here? He'll probably agree with me. Don't give in to the cowards. Make the game harder. I'm only like 5 runs in, but please, abuse the player. I love, well, abuse the player. Don't listen to the man. Don't listen to the people who don't know how to play video games. You already have so many accessibility options in the game. If they can't handle it, just drop the amount of damage they get done. They take. Remake of Bowser's Inside Story was 2018. Oof. Set up shop on some of the tower floors from time to time. Ooh, my games are not to be missed. Yo, is she just the clown from Rogue Legacy? Do I get to like do like gambling? Yo. Mini games? Ooh. God, it's so nice playing on keyboard and mouse. I can't believe I tried to play it on controller. Wait till he unlocks the baseball minigame. Dude, I just want Pokemon. Bandana, damage increase. Each kill for the room. Ah. So it's a Samson reference. Wait, no, that's not a Samson reference. Is that the... Wait a second. No, is that the... That's not Nuclear Throne. That's not a chicken reference. Because chicken doesn't increase damage per kill. Can't be a Metal Gear Solid reference, because if it was a Metal Gear Solid reference, it would be blue. Ooh, double jump. Yo! Oh. Yes. I don't even care that I'm about to die. Baseball is fishing? Ah. Gotcha, gotcha. Also, Chicken would be the weirdest character to reference from Nuclear Throne, in my opinion. If you were going to reference a Nuclear Throne character, I don't think Chicken would be the first choice by many people. Not saying he's a bad character or anything, I just don't think he's the one people would choose. I think Eyes or Melting would probably get more love. It is a Samson reference. Oh. He does wear a red headband, that is true, yes. It felt like the mechanic felt like it was a Samson reference, but just felt chickeny. I don't know why, but it didn't match the chicken mechanic. Because chicken's mechanic is returning from life. I don't know what I just did. Health flask. Cover HP when entering the metro. Boys, we have an Estus. Give me health. You gave me damage, I can't be complained. Or I can't be mad. Cannot be complained. This little shrine completely ruined one of my runs earlier today. The Chaos Shrine. I still have no idea what it's actually doing, but I click on it every time. I love Chaos. Ooh. So out of curiosity, Ben, I don't know if you've actually answered that. Is the way you utilize the health system, clearly it's part of the story, of course. I mean, it's definitely part of how you interpret the story. Which I think I'm kind of getting a grasp on, maybe. How the story is actually making, how you're writing the story of the game. Is the health mechanic, was that influenced by the way that Monolith did it? Or am I just reading too far into things? I don't think they were the first person to do it, but... the way they did it, I loved. The way they made you earn your health ups was very, very fun. Same with Atomicrops. Yeah, Atomicrops definitely took a little bit as well. I'm going to fight you with your own face. He's the infested Keeper of Rage. Not to be confused with the normal Keeper of Rage. That guy's just chill. Don't you jump at me. You won't do it. Probably the greatest move I've ever made in my life, but... God, I love overhitting enemies. I am a fool, and I just stared at the damage. I'm even bigger fool because I jumped into that damage. What an absolute moron. Did not mean to get hit there. I actually don't know who made Atomicrops music. It is such a wacky, wacky soundtrack that is amazing, though. Talking about just, like, pulling out the instruments from the garage and just saying, like, what noises can this thing make? In, like, a good way, though. Give it to me. Ooh, double, double, triple. Let's turn this on. Oh, the song is so good too. This is what it has to do with mood, though. Because, like, if you were to close your eyes and just hear this track, you would probably think either like a mechanical, like a cold mechanical factory style level, or a snowy ice cold level, because it's a very cold. The melody is very cold feeling, right? That's the emotion it gives you. Very, very choked. Is that the word I want to use there? I'm not sure. Frozen Library? Some like Wild Arms nonsense. Gotcha. I could see that. Because it is a Frozen Library, so get it. Ah, what a buffoon. Yeah, the first time I loaded up this area, the first thing I said was, ooh, Fendrana Drifts. Which is like, kind of, I think that's kind of like the Hall of Fame ice level music in gaming, so it's not a bad comparison. But it was definitely the feeling that I got immediately. Invulnerable to traps and explosions. I'll take that. It's a legendary artifact. Now, is that going to help me? No, because I don't get hurt by damage from traps. I get hurt by jumping into bullets. It's something I cannot stop doing. Ooh. But nah. Boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep. God, I love the string arrangement, too. And there's no, what I assume is a cello is not in the natural mix. It's in the bad guy mix. There's the guitar. That's what you were just talking about, yeah. I just jumped down instead of dashing. I panicked so hard right there. Pure panic. Very marimba heavy, too. I'm a big fan of marimba. I don't feel like marimba gets used enough. I feel like that's one of those instruments that people forget exists and can be used in gaming, because there's a lot of people that forget that you can use a marimba in non-tropical ways. Like, you don't need to use a marimba when you're building, like, a beach level. You can use it in many different ways. The cello and the double bass, which are 100% left, 100% right. Yeah. Cello is... It's just the fancy man's bass, when you really break down. It is one of my favorite stringed instruments. And I wish I could play it. Genuinely do. It is on my short list of instruments that I wish that I could play. and cannot. Along with, like, the obvious saxophone, which... I haven't heard any saxophone yet. I have heard brass, but I haven't heard a saxophone. We will take the spear for Chris, because he said it was disgustingly broken. Maybe not his exact words, but my words that I put in his mouth, which I'm okay with. Wow, that was a neat attack. I want to see that again. Attack me. That's actually a really cool attack pattern. It's double left, double right. Or, well, double one direction, double the other direction. Instead of being like 1-1-1-1, it's 2-2. In like a cascading pattern. Anything with a spin move automatically scares me, but that's not really a threatening attack. Unless you're dumb. Ah! Absolutely, I will take the Mario reference. 1,000,000% I will take the Mario reference. I am the plumber. You shall not defeat me. I will take this. I think it would be funny if I didn't, but higher cooldown between dashes seems bad. But I get items every couple rooms. Okay, we got so many familiars. Oh wait, this is Icicle Man. No, bargaining. This guy has killed me so much because of ice. Strictly because of... Ooh. Lucky. I jumped into him. What an absolute buffoon. I walked into him. Nice. Could have gone worse, could have gone way better. Spear is very interesting, actually, because I assumed it was just going to be like a 2-tile wide lift, but it's again it's like almost like a tremor. It's like a tremor attack outward from the player character, which is nice. I just love the Kirby jump noise. It makes me so happy. Kirby remains to be the most powerful video game character ever made. I will upgrade this, and that's everything. The somber sepulcher. Just immediately the bass is right in your face. Just very forward in the mix. I like that you weren't caught, like, you could tell that you're a bassist because of that. Because there's far too many times where, I think you mentioned it earlier, where modern games have the bass just so, not even games, just in music in general, the bass is so low in the mix you can almost not even hear it. It just kind of hangs out with the drums. Ooh. Not the wisest of choices. God, I love the kick as soon as the enemies appear, man. There's so much playfulness in the drums in this game. Ooh, I got a new little Soli bar. I'm gonna keep this item and just not... I don't have a key anyway, actually. He's back. The Lord and Savior has returned. My boy. This run can now be successful. Best item. Just like, listen to the track right now, and I want the people in chat who aren't really... There's just so much extra work on the enemy levels, or on the enemy tracks. I was gonna say aggressiveness, but that's not the term I want to use. But you could, it's stressful, it's tense in a different way than the initial, like, Gazing Grove track is, right? So we talked about with the Gazing Grove track, where the Gazing Grove track is very much, it's ambition, not quite nervousness, it's ambition. As in, like, you're tense because you're starting a journey and you don't know what's gonna happen. It's excitement. It's not like trepidation. It's more so just like excitement. This one is definitely, this one has that, like, tense. This one is not this one is ambition versus, like, excitement. This track is definitely telling you, like, hey, cool, you've been going for a while, but realize that things are about to get real. There's that little tinge of unease and nervousness to it, which is how you utilize keys. Oh, I forgot I had a double jump. Probably should remember that. Bittersweet and sad. Yeah. There's a distressing calmness about it. Even though it has an upbeat tempo, compared, like, right next to Gazing Grove as the comparison. But you can tell that it's writing two different moods. It's writing two different atmospheres with that same similar tempo, which I think people also tend to misunderstand sometimes in music, is that tempo is not mood. Tempo is just the speed. You can write a very sad song at 180 very easily. Boom, 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 boom. Hamster codes. That is a phenomenal name. That is a phenomenal name. Hello, depression. Oh my god, I thought my brick was gonna hit it. The brick did not hit it. I am so silly. Oh my god, he still attacks in his transition phase. I didn't realize. I had no idea. I thought the cutscene might have stopped the attack. It did not interrupt. That's good to know, though. That is good to know. That's actually useful information for next time, because I 100% thought it would have interrupted the attack, but it didn't.